so I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me. And I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
What's good, people? Foul territory. We live. Braun, Pierzynski. That's it. We don't like anyone else.
Can I get rid of you? Or it can just be me?
I will happily stop talking if you want to do 2 hours by yourself.
Do I get to pick the guests and stuff?
Sure.
What are you going to do for 2 hours?
Me?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What am I going to do?
You're just going to sit there?
No, I'll go. Oh, like you want me to be mute on the show with you while you talk? No, I'm leaving.
No, you're not.
I would depart.
No.
I'm not sitting here to stare at you and listen to you talk
Staring
for 2
into
hours.
these baby blues.
We're going to talk Orioles, the first place Orioles with Nathan Ruiz, who reports on them for the Baltimore Sun in about 15 minutes. We're an hour away from Ken Rosenthal. And Keith McPherson, who's on WFAN, talks a lot of Mets and Yankees. He's super depressed. He's a host there. He's going to chat with us in about an hour and a half, and we'll finish off with some fan questions from JS9 Innings. Whew, that was a mouthful. Check out the podcast as well. We post multiple pods per day to split up the show and give you all the interviews and everything else. Rate and review. AJ used to remind you of all of that, but he's forgot his role.
Subscribe. Well, we hit 10,000. I figured my job was done.
10,000 what?
Subscribers.
Oh, for YouTube?
On YouTube. I
We
thought
got
my job was
10,000
done.
follows. We'll double-digit thousand followers on IG now.
Double digit. Oh, we hit 10,000 followers on
Mhm.
IG? Oh.
Yeah, it's a clean
nice.
number. Yeah, but it's not about numbers. You know, analytics are overrated.
What's
Any-
it about? It's
It's about the people.
about people watching.
Yeah, well, yeah, and we just want to interact with everyone. So I get probably 3 to 5, maybe a little more, 5 to 10 Instagram DMs a day to the Foul Territory IG. And someone asked the other day, they were like, "Who is this, by the way?" I was like, "It's me, it's Scott." I was like, I like to respond to these, which I think is cool. So we appreciate everyone reaching out to us. And some big announcements coming up next week. So just put that in the back of your head. It involves fan interaction. That's
Yeah, I'm
my
on
hint.
vacation, so you guys can do whatever you want.
Right. That's actually the biggest announcement is no AJ next week. Todd Father taking over. Kratz is back. I think Brock and Kipnis and all those dudes are going to be involved as well. Let's charge the damn mound and do a therapy session. This is not a show that just sticks to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of the same teams. But when the Yankees suck like this, it has to get covered. It does. Because they're actually flying under the radar. Believe it or
They're
not.
flying under the radar sucking?
No, because how much time are we spending right now talking about teams that were supposed to be good and are not, like the Cardinals, Padres, and Mets, especially this time of year, because some of them might be selling off parts. What about the Yanks? They're in last place in the AL East. Starting to look bleak for them. Sure, Judge is going to come back at some point. I did a few podcast appearances yesterday for some Yankee shows, and I was like, just so you know, just Judge coming back might not fix everything. It's still one human being. And now more than ever, if I'm an opposing team, if I'm you, am I not going, when Judge is back and assuming that he's at his finest, am I going, there it is?
Yeah, I'm going, why are we pitching to this guy? If I'm catching and you've seen what the rest of the team has done for these 2 months that he's been out, I'm like, skip. Judge, first base. Make him steal second and third. Make him get 2 hits for him to score because no one else is hitting. They fired the hitting coach. Tried that. They lost 2 or 3 to Colorado. They got swept by the Angels. Aaron Boone. Listen, I love Aaron Boone. He's a great dude, fun to talk to. He's starting to feel it though, because you start watching his press conferences after these games. It's not the old, "Oh, we'll be okay." It's like, we got to start playing better now. Like, and you can see his face. You want to be a big league manager, huh? That's why people are like, "You want to manage?" I'm like, have you seen the way these guys look after a year? It's like presidents. You age like 10 years per year.
But it's not, in my mind, I don't think it's his fault.
It's not, but he takes the heat. You don't see Brian Cashman in front of the cameras every day after a game. Who do you see?
You see the manager. The manager's the spokesman. But true or
Yeah,
false,
but no matter
the
how-
manager has less control now than they ever have. They don't.
True.
They don't build the roster. They don't do the call-ups. They get a lot of lineup advice they get a lot of script advice in terms of who you're using for your bullpen.
True.
The front office should be number one in the blame game in today's game.
It's not, though.
Oh, you're saying the players?
No, it's not number one, because you know who hires and fires the manager?
The owner and the GM.
The front office.
Right.
So there's like, we're doing a great job. He's just not putting him in the right spot.
That
Oh,
is
let's
such
fire the
bullshit.
hitting coach. Oh, let's fire the manager. Let's try a new manager. You see it in different organizations. How many times certain organizations change managers with the same results?
White Sox?
I didn't say it. but what hasn't changed there? The front office people hasn't changed, right? So
Yeah.
you look at organizations
for a quarter century.
Well, again, you said it. But look at the teams, right? They don't change the front office. It's the manager, because again, we've beaten this to death. When the general manager says, "Oh, I just fired the manager. I'll just get a new manager that gives me 2 or 3 more years because I got my guy this time," or "I'm going to rebuild with my guy. Wait till my players get there." Well, wait, what? Like, I personally, I mean, I played when I first came up. It was manager had all the power.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Kelly, when I came up with Twins, we had Terry Ryan as our GM. Tom Kelly was like up here. Terry Ryan was like down here as far as power. I mean, yes, Terry Ryan had power.
Roster decisions?
Oh, if Tom Kelly was
Trades?
I don't know about trades, but on the big league roster, if Tom Kelly said you weren't going to play for the Twins, it didn't. You could go down to AAA and hit 700 for the whole year, and if he didn't want you there, he'd be like, "Nope, won't." And if he called you, David Ortiz. I mean, Tom Kelly was gone, but he didn't like David Ortiz because he hit the ball the other way, couldn't bunt. But now he went to Boston, and they told him hit homers, and he hit homers and went to the Hall of Fame. But it was just a different time. And now, because the GMs and all the information, the manager is more of a communicator / therapist / how do I make my players understand the numbers? That's the main role now of a manager, is communicate the numbers to the players, communicate what the front office is saying about the players in a good way to the players, and make the players feel comfortable. It's hard, man. It's
Okay,
a
so
lot.
now
So
tell me
it's
what
not.
you're
I mean,
doing.
listen, it's not Aaron Boone's fault. It's not. I mean, he's doing the best he can. Is there some decisions he makes that fans are going to say, "Oh, he's an idiot"? Of course, but that's every fan base in every sport. But he's doing the best he can with the team he's been given. What did Bill Parcells say? If you want me to cook the dinner, at least let me shop for the groceries, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, that's not how it works. So, okay, but the dude who does shop for the groceries, so let's say you're the owners of the
we
Yanks.
role playing again today, 2 days in a row.
Yeah, we're going to do it every day. People loved it. You're Steinbrenner. What are you doing?
I'm Hal Steinbrenner.
Yeah.
I'm
What's your
saying
move?
get fucking better.
To who?
Everybody.
Okay, thanks, dude who can't swing a bat or hit a baseball, who has a lot of money thanks to his dad. Thanks, bud. What else you got?
Do fucking better.
That doesn't do shit.
It does. If you
What's your move? What's your move?
you
Are you
gotta-
buying big
you
at the
ha- You
deadline?
have to do something.
Are you
to
putting
shake it up.
pressure on your front office?
You have to do something to shake it up, because this is basically the same team from last year. Rodon is the only major addition, right? Because the rest is pretty. I mean, you got Donaldson, Volpe, who's new, but Torres is there, Rizzo was there, Trevino and Higashioka, right? Bader was there at the end of last year. Judge is still there. They got rid of Hicks, who they said was the problem.
Not a problem.
He's raking in Baltimore.
Yep.
Right? Their left fielder right now is IKF, who's not an everyday. I mean, I guess he is, but he's more of like a utility guy. Stanton has not been great. He's always hurt too. I mean, he hits homers when he's in there, but that's about it. And then the pitching staff is pretty much the same as it was last year. You had Rodon, who missed until July, and since he's come back hasn't been very good. So that's not on the manager. The manager is like, okay, well, I've got these players. So you've got to do something, and this is not the Yankees way, but it's almost what the Cardinals are going to go through now. You got to do something to just completely shake it up.
But
Like,
what?
that's why Brian Cashman's been there for 26 years. I don't know what.
Sell at the deadline?
Sell, but try to kind of do what teams have tried to do. Thread the needle where you sell, but you buy at the same time.
Reload.
What was it? The Twins a couple years ago, they acquired a guy, they traded him, and then they still made the playoffs. Remember that one?
Kind of.
It was Jaime Garcia. They traded for him. A week later, they lost a bunch of games. They traded him away,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
they still snuck into the postseason.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was like kind of, they didn't mean it to go like that, but they kind of threaded the needle.
Yep.
Like, can you thread the needle as a not a good team right now. Last place team in your division. I mean, I know they're over 500. I get all that. But you're still in last place. Can you thread the needle, make some major moves, but still keep your core happy, intact, and ready for a longer run?
I don't like that plan, but okay.
No, but
the Boston Red Sox kind of did that last year. Like, what are we doing? And it was terrible. One other layer to this, specifically to yesterday, with the Yankees losing again and having nothing to show on offense and Rodon not pitching well. It's a lot of our crew right now in the chat saying, can you please go over two things? Number one, Carlos Rodon.
I didn't get that one.
A little kiss.
What?
Oh, I bet you Yanks fans were all over his ass out there in Anaheim. And he just did I've done that before. I got sucker punched right to that. But I did it once.
By who?
I don't want to get into it.
No, you can't. You can't.
Another time. And then also Tommy Canley.
No.
I'll give it to you maybe at the
Tommy
end.
Canley nailed it.
Tommy Canley destroyed a cheap ass fan. They need a new, nicer fan in there anyway. That fan looked like it was from the janitor's closet in my elementary school in 1995. Tommy
Canley. Great snap, brother.
That was a great snap. What is Aaron Boone saying to him? Tommy, that was excellent. You saved me an ejection today because I was going to go do something to fire up the boys, but instead, we'll get you a new fan.
You don't see a lot of that anymore. You don't see as many snaps as you used to see. There used to be a lot of them because of things like social media and the TV.
Who cares? I think it looks good. I think you win fans over.
Yes, it shows you care. I do believe that. But also, people don't really like to see it because they say, oh, you look like a baby. But listen, for those 15 seconds when you throw something and break it, you feel so good. And then as soon as it's over, you're like, why did I do that?
I don't even feel that way. I've broken stuff before, and I feel fine. As long as it's something that's not like a cherished possession for someone. A fucking fan in a dugout, that is the perfect thing to smash.
I've smashed plenty of things, including my face before. So
well, you don't want to get hurt.
Yeah.
Legends territory with Dempster was great about breaking an entire kitchen sink or bathroom sink.
Yeah.
That was excellent.
Listen, if you have played this game long enough, unless you're some guy that just has no emotions, you're going to lose it at some point. It's so hard of a game to play. And sometimes you just have to let it out. And listen, people don't like it, but anger management, man, in baseball is hard because especially with all the failure you deal with, someone's got to let it out.
Speaking of anger management, the Tampa Bay Rays are also pissed off. They're suddenly kind of terrible right now.
Kind of?
Since that start, since they started off super hot, 29-7, do you know what their record is since then? As they just got swept by the Rangers?
They're under 500.
31-32.
Yeah.
That's a solid 2.5 months of baseball right there. 31-32 after 29-7. Awesome start. They played really tough teams right off the jump. That's sarcastic. And they have lost 4 in a row. They're 12-19 in their last 31 games. All I want to say on a team like Tampa Bay is pump the brakes. They're good. They're not incredible.
They're good, but they're so banged up and they're pitching so banged up. It's really going to be hard for them.
Well, isn't that always how this works? The number one thing that I look at when I'm evaluating a team before the season starts is pitching depth because they can fool you early on. But how is that going to look in the last 40% of the season?
They don't have a lot left. You look at who they called up Bradley, who's like kind of, if you talk to Rays people, their last like pitching guy, because they've always been known to bring up pitcher.
Yeah,
right?
he's a good prospect.
Bradley, right? But he's struggling right now, right? McClanahan's back. They need him to win because if he doesn't win, they're in trouble, right? Glasnow's been good, but then it's like there's two guys after that. Eflin, but he's kind of backed up with the team, this month.
Right, not playing as well.
Not doing as well.
But I like him.
Early. No, he's a good pitcher. But their bullpen is where it's really because they get overused. Their starters don't go deep enough into games, and they're overused. That's why they use the shuttle all up and down. I need to give a guy a break and they're not Phantom with sore elbow or hamstring.
Well, and the whole rep with the Rays is if you're struggle city, you can come here and reinvent yourself, but also we'll probably break you in the process because we'll overuse you like a Nick Anderson.
Yeah, you're right. No, it happens. It's the way they are. And it's the way they have to use their resources, and I get it. And Kevin Cash is a great manager. And Kyle Snyder, their pitching coach, is really good at his job. Been doing it for a long time since Jim Hickey left there. But man, it's like, and to me, I've said this is why they can't win the World Series. they can't. They manipulate the roster. Them and the Dodgers manipulate the roster better than anybody with IL stints, up and down options, the whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
But when then you get to the postseason, they get stuck because you can't use the manipulation as much. So then you have to use guys for 3 series in a row, and they're pitching almost every day. And then if you watch like 2020, their bullpen kind of just went.
Oh, everyone got overexposed as the series went on.
Exactly,
no doubt about it.
So that's kind of but their way of avoiding that in the past has been we option up and down and do things, and it's a good way to do it if you have the depth. But as we see right now, they're running out of depth.
Yeah, it's a great regular season plan.
Yeah,
but it can break guys. Jeffrey Springs out, crushes them. Rasmussen out, crushes them. But also just realize that when a player comes to the Rays, usually what they're doing is they're helping them improve velocity, and they're telling them, oh, yes, we got your 4-seam fastball up a few ticks, but by the way, we want you to use it way less. You're going to use a ton of, say, sliders. It's not going to more likely lead to an injury.
Well, they also take whatever you do well and just say, throw this. Like Matt Whistler is a perfect example. Guy caught his big league debut. He was a starter, sinker, slider, changeup, multiple pitches. He goes to the Rays. He throws like 98% sliders. He threw like 100 and something, I think, sliders in a row without throwing a fastball.
Is that good for you? For your arm?
I mean, it got him. I think it got him a little bit of money.
No, it did, and obviously it worked for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But my point is, if a guy's throwing that much secondary stuff, isn't it more of a strain on your arm usually? Still sliders, splitters.
That's above my pay grade.
Okay.
But it's interesting because today's the first day the Rays haven't been in first place all year. So what do they do now? Where do they go? Do they make that? I mean, I read somewhere, maybe Ken wrote it, that they're going to someone go have them go get Ohtani.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I brought that up yesterday on one of my interviews. I said, dark horse, who gets Ohtani? I said, Rays? Well, we'll get into it with Ken because we're also going to touch on the top team in the AL East now, the Baltimore Orioles. Nathan Ruiz is going to join us on the other side. And first, poll question. Open it up. Scan the QR code on your screen or watchstadium.com/foul territory. Nice and simple to start here, okay? It's Thursday. Who will win the AL East? And all of the teams are provided. There is no other, even if you want to use that. We'll swing right back. We'll talk to Nathan Ruiz about the first place Orioles, and they made a trade yesterday.
Yeah, so I started collecting cards ever since I was little, and then throughout high school and stuff, I kind of stopped just because baseball kind of got real and was focusing on that. But then going back over COVID, I was going through some of my cards and like looking up on eBay like what they're worth and everything, and I had a couple of Mike Trout rookies, and I was like, dang, they're worth a couple grand. And so I'm like, I'm gonna get these things graded, see how it comes back, and then just going through the collection and just how much the card like hobby just broke out during COVID was crazy, and then just sending cards out to PSA, getting them graded, doing that, and then just like kind of like going on eBay, bidding on cards, bidding against people. It's just fun. It's just kind of great fun, and then just seeing how valuable like my own cards are and stuff like that. So starting to collect my own cards, and this year I've heard from Mike Trout last year, he was buying kind of boxes every time he hit a home run, and so now I was like, all right, instead of that, I'm just going to buy one of my own cards every time I hit a home run. So I've kind of been doing that this year, which has been fun, just kind of going on eBay, buying my own cards, bidding against people. I got an alias on there, so people don't know I'm kind of bidding on myself on there. But so yeah, that's been fun. And the thing with Vinny was I think I got I pulled like a Zach Wilson autographed rookie card, and at the time it was like worth a couple $100, and I was like, Vinny, I'll give it to you for $200 or whatever. He's like, I don't know how this guy, but now that card's probably worth $25-$50. So he made the right choice on that.
And now back to foul territory.
Back on Stadium, Braun and Pierzynski. It's FT Live, and now time for Charlotte's Web Player Access, sponsored by Recreate. As we bring in Nathan Ruiz, who is the Orioles reporter for the Baltimore Sun. Good times for Baltimore right now. Nathan, great to have you on here for the first time. How you doing? And how fun is Baltimore to watch at the moment for you? I know the Dodgers took 2 out of 3 in the series, but they still get to look up and go, "Oh shit, we're in first place now."
See that win yesterday gives them 70 straight multi-game series without being swept, eighth longest streak in AL NL history. So it's a team that, since calling up Adley Rutschman, hasn't let a team sweep it. Have had a couple one-game series that didn't go their way, but obviously just played really good baseball for the past 18 months now, or 14 months now since calling him up, and like you said, tied for first place going in this big series.
Do you just watch this team in amazement? Because I watch this team and I'm like, how are they doing this? Because yes, Rutschman and Hayes is having a great year, and Santander's got some big hits for him. But it's like, man, you look at the names in the pitching staff, you're like, this team, how is this team competing? And I know Cano's had a great year, Batista, but gosh, it's like then you see him play the Dodgers, right? And you see Betts, Freeman, Smith, and you're like, okay, they have Rutschman, but they're in first place with a great record, and they win and they're so damn exciting. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, I started covering this team in 2019. So even last year, I just kind of had this expectation that at some point the wheels were kind of just going to fall off, that, they were playing pretty slow to start. They call up Adley, start playing some really good baseball, and they just kept playing well. And you think maybe this year something like that will happen. You look at going into the All-Star break, they had lost 6 or 7 at one point, and then they go out and win 5 straight to end the break, sweep the Marlins, and then they salvage that game against the Dodgers. Yeah, this is a team that, like you said, doesn't have a ton of star power, but just has a lot of really solid major league players. Manager Brandon Hyatt has a ton of pieces to work with. They just have so much depth. They have options, lefty, righty. The bullpen obviously picked up another piece yesterday, but they've been pretty solid back there for the most part. Obviously, some issues in the middle innings. The rotation's been up and down, but it has had some really good runs within it. And so it's just a team that is cumulatively a team. It's not carried by 1 or 2 guys. It's just a really good depth group.
Give us more on the trade for Fujinami. They have been looking for a guy to set up Cano and Bautista, 6th, 7th inning type. And for some that aren't paying close enough attention to the game, Fujinami tried to be a starter, did not work out. That's why his ERA is bloated as hell. But as a reliever, he's been much better. So I'm sure you know this and the Orioles know this. But how do you think this fits in? I think it could be a really nice deal for them to kind of kickstart their trade deadline season.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard to say with them whether that ends up being the only move they make. I think they still have needs, definitely on the pitching side, but bringing a guy who provides a bit of a bridge. They have those 2 all-star relievers in Cano and Batista. And you look what Fujinami's been the past couple months. Fastball velocity's ticked up, changed his repertoire a little bit to focus more on that splitter. And obviously the Orioles have a pretty good fastball splitter pitcher already at the back end of their bullpen in Felix Batista. So bringing him in gives you another piece. You look at them over the past couple months, you look at that 6th to 8th inning range. They have an ERA over 5 since the start of June. And so there have been some struggles in those middle innings for them, getting the ball to Cano, Batista with a lead. For a while there, Yennier Cano had only pitched with them leading, but they just had started to use him with, in close games trailing a bit recently here, just trying to get through these games, get through those innings. And I think now they have another option. They had guys in Mike Baumann, Danny Coulombe, Brian Baker, who had some success, some mixed success, but I think bringing another guy, adding another established piece, any contender is going to need bullpen help, and the Orioles are a contender.
Nathan, I'm going to stop you. It better not be the only damn move they make. They better go all in and try to win this thing, not only East, but win the whole thing. I'm a big proponent as a former player of going for it. And they've got the team to do it. They've got the chance with the division being, I know it's the AL East, but it seems like the division might be a little bit down from the standards. So this is their chance, along with the whole American League, honestly. I mean, the Central is obviously awful. The Rangers can be had, I think, if you have the right team. I think the Astros are down. So this is a great shot here for the Orioles. So, yeah, I mean, Mount Fuji's a great pickup for them, but there better be more coming, because if there isn't, if I'm a player, if I'm a fan, there might be a little revolt because, dude, let's go.
Yeah, and I think you're right to that point. If it is the only move, I think it'll be disappointing for that clubhouse. I think it'll be disappointing for that fan base. But at the same time, I think organizationally, they're not a team that's all in on 2023, which I think is disappointing to hear. But at the same time, they have built the best farm system in baseball. They have an exceptionally young and talented major league team. They don't need necessarily to be all in on 2023. And like you said, there's an opportunity here. There's a chance here. They are probably a little ahead of schedule. I don't think they expect to be as good as they were last year. I don't think they expect to be this good this year. But they think they're going to be really good in 2024 and 2025. You look at what they have coming. You look at what they already have had arrive in the big leagues. This is an organization that's in a place where it needs to put all its eggs in the 2023 basket. Now, obviously, they have a chance. Then, they got Fujinami, who's a rental. They have made a rental addition already. And there's the opportunity to make more of them. I think that this is a team that definitely, like I said, could use another arm in the bullpen, probably could use another starter, ideally one who slots near the top of the rotation, that type of game one postseason series starter. But that said, this is a team that has really stockpiled its prospects, has shown its ability to develop them and produce with them. We're seeing it with Gunnar Henderson. We're seeing it with Adley Rutschman. We're starting to see it with Jordan Westberg and Colton Cowser and Grayson Rodriguez. This is a team that really believes in the future it's building and doesn't feel that it necessarily needs to be all in for 2023.
Screw that.
Yeah,
Screw that,
that's
dude.
insane. That's
Dude,
insane.
You never know what can happen.
What if Adley Rutschman, has a terrible injury next year, or any of these guys, right? Like one of the focal points, but especially I bring up Adley because he's like their posy, right?
God forbid. I mean, but things.
I'm saying, like, shit happens all the
I
time,
know.
and then you're like, oh man, I guess we should have looked back at last year and done something. Like,
You're
they're
not
in
ahead of
first
schedule.
place. They have the best record in the American League. If I'm them, like Nathan, the great part about Baltimore to me is they have such a surplus. I don't know where all of these prospects are going to play. They don't all have full-time roles. Even further pushing that this is the time to make a move, even if it's for a rental. They're also cheap as shit. Opening day payroll was second lowest in baseball, which, great, you tank for 1 billion years. That's what's going to happen. That's awesome. But now for them, they can get players that they wouldn't buy normally in the offseason because they're too expensive. Sure, we can dream about Ohtani. That's a great name to bring up. But let's say he's not dealt. Like, let's build out the dream scenario right now of what this team actually should do this year, because they can win a World Series right now. Like, who do you want? Like Dylan Cease, Marcus Stroman, Blake Snell if the Padres don't do well over the next couple weeks, Scherzer if the Mets pay down a lot of the money and they give up a couple nice prospects. Like, let's go crazy here, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I think a few of those names you listed off are the ideal guys for them. Just, they need a number one starter. They needed one in the offseason and they didn't get it. They signed Kyle Gibson. And if you view that trade as what it was, just kind of adding a veteran to the middle back into their rotation, it's a good move. But in terms of getting a guy who ended up being their opening day starter, kind of their number one starter, he hasn't been that. They've had nice production out of Tyler Wells and Kyle Bradish. Dean Kramer's been solid. Obviously just brought Grayson Rodriguez back up, but this isn't a team that has a number one starter. Most of those guys are very early in their careers and probably going to have some kind of inning situation at some point. This team clearly needs another starter. I want to be clear that, like, I'm not saying that they don't need to do anything else. They should. But this is also an organization that has operated a certain way for the last few years, and now it has the opportunity. This roster has exceeded expectations the last 2 years, and the front office definitely has the opportunity to do the same.
Well, here's my thing. The players dictate what schedule you're on. The players are ahead of schedule, so therefore the fans want to win. Like, you can go into every season and say, oh, we might not be any good, but then all of a sudden, boom, you're pretty good.
Happened to the Cubs. They were good a little quicker than they thought.
Yeah,
Pirates were good and missed their boat. They didn't do shit.
Which is a
while back.
Which is a good problem to have if you're an organization. And so you would think, I want to capitalize this because the Orioles have a chance to be good for years to come, right? So maybe it's not maybe we're looking at this wrong.
No,
maybe there's a guy with multiple years of control, a pitcher, and I don't know who that pitcher would be, obviously, but that has 2 years left, let's say, and you cover him for 2 years. But again, prospects, Nathan, are only prospects until they become big leaguers, and then they're suspects. Other than that, it's a player, you're like, see ya, dude. So let's ask you, who would be an ideal pickup for this team?
Yeah, I think like a Dylan Cease type, a Lucas Giolito, maybe Jordan Hicks in St. Louis to get another bullpen arm in there, and just the velocity they would have in the back end would be really exciting. But I do think, yeah, in an ideal world, they go out and get a number one starter, someone who does have a little bit of control, maybe like a Dylan Cease. Again, like I don't know what they're willing to part with in terms of prospects because they've never been in this situation before. Like you said, they have a lot of guys, especially a lot of infielders. And so the opportunity is there to move some of these guys. But I also think their organizational philosophy is that, until proven differently, that 6 years of a cost-controlled young player is going to be more valuable than 2 playoff runs with a given player who's already in their prime. And so is that the way they should be operating? Probably not. But This is the first time they've been in that situation. And so until they go out and do something different, I thought this offseason they were going to make some big moves. I thought they were going to get a top of the rotation starter. I thought they were going to trade some of these guys then to add to the lineup, add to the rotation, add to the bullpen. And they didn't do it. They've held on to these guys and it's gotten them where they are. And it's hard to blame the method, but they have an opportunity to push here for sure. They absolutely have the chance to put the pedal to the metal and blow past the Rays and take advantage of a down season from the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Blue Jays, relatively down, and take advantage. And whether they do that, they have the opportunity in these next 11 days, and whether they do that remains to be seen.
When's the last time the Orioles won a World Series?
1983, 40 years ago.
40 years ago, right? Do you think the fans would trade all of it, every prospect, every minor league player for a World Series?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So
Maybe not
go.
Jackson Holiday. Jackson Holiday might be the only one, but
okay, fine. Every other guy that they have.
And they have a ton of prospects that are top 50, top 100, whatever kind of guys. And the other point I think, Nathan, that teams have to be careful with is, because I know they tanked for a while to get to this point, which is awesome. It's not like they're going to be bad next year if they trade away, 3 or 4 of their top 10 prospects in order to pick up 1 or 2 key players. And the AL East is not going to stay down like this for long. The Yankees rarely have a shit season like this. The Red Sox are not going to be down for much longer.
But the whole American League in general is down for me if you look at it.
This is why
this is
their
the shot.
Time.
Like, this is the shot. Let's go.
We might, Nathan, it's not crazy. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's not crazy to think that at one point we'll look back and be like, you know what? Actually, 23 was the best chance for them. Like, that was the year where everyone was down in their side.
Yeah, this is, like you mentioned, the payroll's low. They have a ton of flexibility. This might be their best opportunity. These guys are going to get more expensive. They're going to get closer to free agency, and some of them might leave. And so there's an opportunity here. I don't want to, act like I don't agree with you guys. Like, I just know how this organization has operated over the course of this rebuild. But, to your point, this is their opportunity. This is, they've stockpiled this talent, and now they can put it to use. And we've seen them do it in spurts. They traded Dale Hernandez last year for a couple pitchers from the A's. They traded Easton Lucas, just yesterday for another pitcher from the A's. But that's hardly picking at the top levels of their farm system. They have so much middle infield depth, middle infield young talent that they could part with a couple of those players and add a really significant piece for this playoff push and maybe next year's too. And there's definitely an opportunity here, but this is also an organization that sees its window opening now and thinks it can contend in this division for a long, long time, and believes that given its financial situation, it needs to operate a certain way in order to remain a consistent contender. But to your point, this might be their best opportunity. We won't know that for years to come, but they hope and believe that there's a lot more opportunities coming, and I think that's how they're going to operate.
Nathan, how long have you been covering the O specifically?
This is my 5th season. So 2019, I started right with the rebuild.
So perfect. So what I wanted to ask you about is the health for baseball of tanking. Do you think that the Orioles' success now, after tanking for technically, what would you call it? 5 years? 6?
I would say the 18 trade deadline to like the 22 trade deadline.
Okay, so 5-ish years. Do you think that it hurts our sport because the Orioles now are showing that they were like probably the top tanking team over that past half decade? And look at them. Every owner is salivating and jealous about the Orioles. They're spending no money. The place is starting to pack up in Camden Yards. They're full of prospects. They can make any trade they want, right? All of that, and they're profiting like crazy. Do you think it's bad for the sport because you were there for this? As awesome as this is right now, it'd be cooler if there were other ways to get to this point without basically losing a mini generation of fans because the team's so bad you can't even watch them.
No, yeah, I think they definitely have lost fans. Like you mentioned, attendance going up, but still, like, they'll draw 25,000, 30,000 on a good night. They don't open the left field upper deck. Like they haven't brought people back in the same way. There are definitely people who are still hesitant and still lost to those awful 18, 19, 21 seasons. And as someone who watched most of that baseball, it was really rough to watch. There were a lot of nights where the Orioles would go into the 7th, 8th inning with a 2-run lead and then end up losing by 5, 6, 7. It was really rough baseball to watch. And a lot of those players had to play in it too. You look at an Austin Hayes, a Cedric Mullins, Anthony Santander, Dean Kramer, Ryan Knock. There's a lot of guys who had to, endure and weather that too. And so they're really happy to be on this other side of it. I think to your point about kind of the state of tanking, there are a lot of other teams who have tanked. And obviously we point to the examples of the Astros and the Cubs as teams that worked out. But there are a lot of teams that did what the Orioles did and did what those teams did, and it didn't work out. you look at the Orioles, this wasn't just like them taking top of the draft guys. Like obviously they had a lot of early picks, but Gunnar Henderson was 42nd overall. Jordan Westberg was 30th overall. Like this wasn't just that. They have exceptional player development. They have a lot of systems in place that have allowed them to have the success beyond just playing really bad baseball. And obviously it helps now that they have an exceptionally low payroll. They did get a lot of top picks. They still have a top-ranked farm system because they were so bad. I mean, you look 2 years ago, they were the worst team in baseball, and now they're the best team in the American League by winning percentage. And so as a result of that, they have Jackson Holliday, the number one prospect in baseball, in their farm system. So they definitely benefited a lot, but I also think there are a lot of teams that have tried to do this and not done it well.
Okay, change the subject. You've beaten up the Orioles enough, Nathan, so we can
right.
We can move on now.
No, we love them.
No, we do.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Is your favorite color orange?
It was when I was younger, actually, yeah.
It's not anymore because you went to Oklahoma State and now you're an Orioles beat writer, so you got to love orange and black.
Right. Well, and I grew up a Giants fan actually, so there's a lot of orange, and then it's just hard,
me.
Yeah. No, actually, my mom. My mom.
He's like, yeah.
No. My mom is actually a huge White Sox fan, so I figured I'd pass that along. So she says thanks for 2005.
Okay. Oklahoma State's in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Have you ever been to Stillwater, Oklahoma?
No.
How many cups? I went there the first time this year. How many cups in different color cups do you have from Eskimo Joe's?
12. And only because my fiance went to OU, so we had to trim down the number. So there's a bit. So yeah, I've been cut down. I had a lot more when I was just living that single studio apartment life, but now I've been cut down to 12.
Okay, yeah. So see, you don't know, Eskimo Joe's like the main place in Stillwater, and they give you every beer you drink, they give you like a little cup, and it's like pink, blue, yellow. They're all different. It's like
you only had 12 beers.
Well, I mean, and in 4 years of school, I'm sure you had more than 12 beers.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Sweet teas too, some sweet teas.
Yes,
Ooh,
true.
I like that.
Also
okay.
true.
Awesome.
Okay, just checking. And by the way, Jose Ramirez will beat you in Mario Kart because allegedly aren't you the Mario Kart champion of the world?
Do you know about Jose Ramirez? We got to jump, but do you know about him? Like his Mario Kart skills?
I'm vaguely aware, yeah.
Okay. Definitely worth a look. Like we've done some conversations with Guardians players about it. There's a couple good articles. Be curious to get your take next time we bring you back on because he's literally a cheat code in that game.
I'll check it out for sure.
Nathan, awesome having you on for the first time, dude. Enjoy this fun ride.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. And want to remind everyone, Recreate wants to send you to the World Series. Follow hello_recreate on Instagram for more info. No purchase necessary. Ends July 31st. Must be 18 plus. For rules, visit charlottesweb.com/World Series. Recreate is the official CBD of Major League Baseball. It is right here on the desk with us. We'll reveal those first poll results. Who's winning the AL East? That's next.
Better roll for you, that or Skidmark and Kingpin.
Yeah, that's bullshit right there. You bring that up.
What do you mean?
Yeah. So I'll do a quick one on that one. I was supposed to be in Dumb and Dumber, and the team wouldn't let me go. We were going to film one day somewhere. And
wait, were you going to be Seabass?
I was going to be Seabass, kick his ass Seabass. Yeah. So, and the Fairley brothers, they love to have like a New England, athlete or whatever in their movies. So I said, listen, they're not going to let me come. I'm kind of disappointed. It looked like it was going to be fun. But Cam was with the Bruins at the time. And I said, get Cam. So Cam had kind of a Canadian accent, and most of the lines in there for like a shit kicking truck driver. I'm going to kick his ass, Seabass, and all that. So they go, we're going to get you. We're going to get you. So you just stay tight. So the following winter, they called and they said, all right, we got a role for you. It's in the off season. We're filming in Reno. We're flying you in there. Take one day. We're filming at night, and you can do it. And I said, I'm not going anywhere, boys, till you tell me. I know you guys got a crazy nickname. What's my name in the movie? And they go, well, if we tell you that, you won't come. And I said, what is it? And he goes, well, you're Skidmark. And I go, you guys are freaking crazy. And I said, they go, all right. I said, what am I going to be this time? They go, you're going to be another shit kicking truck driver. You're going to come into a bar and Randy Quaid's going to be dancing with your girl. And that's where Woody's going to be with you, Harrelson. And here we go. And, but yeah, the hat I had on, I had an earring in, I had 3 tattoos of the girls that I had dated or married, and they crossed 2 of them out, and I had the current one on my bicep. And then my hat was the best. My hat said, truck driver hat said, ass, grass, or cash. No one rides for free.
And now back to foul territory.
We're bickering. Braun and Pierzynski with you. Ken Rosenthal
Children.
will join us in that second hour, and so will Keith McPherson, who will be our New York City specialist. Ken will cover all the teams for us. First poll results. The Baltimore Orioles will win the American League East, according to our fans. They are winning by a landslide in this poll, which actually, to me, a bit surprising that people are giving up on Tampa Bay so quickly. But I do agree. I picked Baltimore. What about you?
At the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
You picked Baltimore?
No. Right now.
Oh, right now, yeah. I think Baltimore has all the momentum. They're playing the best right now. The Yankees are faltering. Red Sox are, those 2 out of 3 to Oakland. That's, one series. But I think if you look at the roster construction, Toronto's kind of hasn't figured it completely out. Rays were so high. They're so beat up. I think Baltimore is the one team in that division that is really climbing.
Especially if they do actually make moves like we just talked about.
And I love that they made – listen, yes, Texas fired the first shot with Chapman really early, but as far as like rental guys and trade deadline guys getting from the Met or the A's,
Good start.
Is a great start.
When Nathan was like, if that's all they do, I was like, whoa. We got a lot more to do,
They better
Orioles
do
fans.
way more than that.
Yes. This next poll question is up for you. We're about to put it up. Scan the QR code or watchstadium.com/foul territory. Should teams sell other teams' jerseys in their team store? Do you understand that? Otherwise, you should definitely listen to this morning's pod. Are you cool if you're a Mariners fan with Blue Jays gear being sold in your team store? A, no way. B, sure. C, I don't care either way. Or D, depends on the jersey. Think about it.
Or
We already played this out quite a bit yesterday. Just wanted to get everyone's thoughts. Let's hit last minute game time, shall we? Best ticketing app of all time. Our friends at GameTime or GameTime.co if you're going on web. Otherwise, get the app. And if you're looking for some last minute games to hit, there's a ton of day games today. And obviously, you're watching us right now. So if you're trying to hit an evening matchup, to me, this might be the easiest preview of the year. Usually, I bold multiple games. I'm like, ooh, I want to go there. I want to go there. The Orioles are playing the Rays tonight.
there's one game. That's it.
Because here's your other night
That's it.
games to decide, okay? If you're looking for a last-minute flash deal for a ticket. St. Louis, Chicago. I mean, Stroman, cool, but, like, he's getting traded. And then Houston against Oakland. Nah, I'm good. I'll take Baltimore and Tampa Bay. It's Kyle Gibson against Tyler Glass now. And for once here, the Rays are looking up now at the Orioles being like, okay, are we going to make a statement? Are we going to show that we're not in this rut that we're in and stop Baltimore's streak? Now, Baltimore lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers, but still, they're riding quite a high right now.
They're in first place.
They're in first place.
And you have Glass now going. And I think McClanahan pitches coming up here pretty quickly too, doesn't he?
I'll get to the probables.
So this is the series. Like we talked about Baltimore. This could be the series that makes or breaks what happens. with
I
the
don't believe
Orioles.
in that. It's
Did you
too
not
early.
just listen to Nathan say?
Yeah, but what if they
This
take
team
3
is
out of
super
4?
cheap
Like,
and they don't want to make any moves. They want to hold on to their prospects till they're.
yeah, but even if they lose 3 out of 4, the Orioles are a very legit contender.
Oh,
They
the
should
Orioles
be adding.
should make the playoffs. They should be adding, but this maybe series determines how much they add. Let's say that.
Really?
Dude, it's the Orioles. They haven't done anything like this for almost 10 years now.
They should be seriously.
Oh, they should add
adding
everything
and not
they
looking
can.
back.
But again, I'm not the
I get it.
Angelos family, and I don't have control of the purse strings.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
I'd
can
be
tell you,
going-
you're
I'd
very
be all
wealthy.
in.
You're very wealthy this year. You're making a shitload of money. You're
I'd be all
spending
in.
nothing on your team,
I'd
and
be
you're
all
making a ton of money. Kyle Bradish versus Zach Eflin is tomorrow. Next day is Grayson Rodriguez against Shane McClanahan. That's a stuff game.
Yep.
That's a good game. But we're focusing on today. So
I mean, that's the only one that's even I mean, other than I would like to
Yeah,
have
it's
seen
a light
Gallen
slate.
versus Strider, but that started at 12:20. So
Yeah, no. Game Time can't, as amazing
Can't
as
go
they
back in
are,
time.
they can't. They don't have that figured out yet. They have just about everything else. So let's run through it right now. If you're stressed out about last minute tickets, no need anymore. If you're looking for sports, music, comedy, whatever it is, killer last minute deals, best price guarantee. It's all there for you. Easy to find and buy tickets for any kind of event in your area or otherwise. And you don't need to plan months in advance. You can be very last minute. The Game Time guarantee means you'll get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time's going to credit you 110% of the difference. They've got your back, as you can see right there. Boom. What game are we hitting right there? Do you like that view?
Yeah, I need a little closer.
Closer? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll click out and give you a better view next time.
Yeah, I need a better view. I need closer.
Are you a behind home plate guy because you're a catcher, or you don't need that?
No, I don't like to be. I like to be a little higher so I can see the whole field.
Okay.
Right.
Well, no problem. I'll find it for you. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code FTLive for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code FTLive, $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
I also, Scott, like a club and air conditioning if I need it too. Just throwing it out there.
Like a nightclub?
No, like a club where I can go get free food and stuff.
Okay. You still have to take me to a game, by the way.
We heard about Edwin Diaz throwing a little bit. Could we see him at the end of the year, maybe? Or just depends on where they're at?
I would think it depends on where they're at. They initially said at the time of Edwin Diaz's injury, it's going to take 7 months, which brings you to November. But there were, or 8 months, which brings you to November. But there were cases, Billy Epler said at the time, of it taking 6 months, which is September, which is in play for the end of the regular season, for the playoffs. Where he's at right now, we just don't know. He's throwing in the outfield regularly. He's not walked long since dumped the crutches to help him walk. So it seems like things are going really well. But is it worth bringing him back? You know, I think about it this way. If the Mets were in it the whole year, is it worth bringing back your excellent closer after that injury to put him in that sort of situation? I think it's a little bit of a toss-up. Is it worth bringing him back if you're on the very fringes, or you have sort of have a shot at the playoffs in the second half of September? That might be a tough sell. But it depends on how his rehab goes between now and then.
So we don't know where Edwin Diaz is going to be. Is Max Scherzer going to be on the roster on August 2nd?
I really think he is. Steve Cohen has this thing about paying down salaries to get other teams to take players and get better prospects in return. And if he took that to the extreme in the case of Scherzer or Verlander and their record $43.3 million salaries, that would be pretty fascinating to pay that much money for a player to play for another team. That said, between Scherzer's middling performance and his salary next year, I think, the Mets are going to keep him. And a big part of that is because the Mets want to be good in 2024, no matter what happens this year. And if you trade Scherzer, then all of a sudden you leave yourself with another gigantic hole that you're unable to fill internally, that you then have to go spend another ton of money to fill over the offseason.
And now back to foul territory.
I don't want to start a whole firestorm again because we had such acting class yesterday. Hey, everyone, back on Stadium, Braun and Pierzynski. But we're going to close up the second poll where we said, should teams sell other teams' jerseys in their team store? And it's pretty close between no and depends.
Okay, so I thought about this. I actually did think about this last night because we had, you role playing Mr. Your owner, you're George Steinbrenner, and I'm George Costanza. Okay,
It was fun. I was actually the owner of Nintendo,
against it.
by the way.
I am against it still.
Mhm.
This is all I will say. If you want to take a little section in the back and put every team stuff, not just the team you're playing against that series, have a section of all 30 major league hats, all 30, pick one player or a generic jersey of every team, that I could understand.
Okay.
but
so
not one specific player.
I just have to do like a 30-second replay of the acting that we did yesterday. So being that you brought this to my office now on day 2, hey, you're AJ, you thought about it. Okay. Owner goes, cool. Okay. I like that compromise. We will put a little section in the back where it offers everything. Are you going to, I'm not even going to tell you this because you're not going to pay attention, but I'm just going to load it up and have a lot more of like a particular team sometimes. In that section, like, you know, you go pick out a shirt and you're like, wow, it's this much Blue Jays. And then it's like Orioles, Yankees,
That's fine.
Angels. Okay. So that's a good compromise then.
Okay, that's fine. But
As
you have
long
to
as
have
all
the
30
teams.
are offered,
Yes.
then you're okay.
Then I'm okay with it. I did, you know, I
No,
actually
good.
did think about this last night because I was like, Scott's an idiot. So how can I compromise with him? You know, what's it? Arguing with idiots?
Also, I mean, I can't be that much of an idiot. I'm playing a role. It's called acting. If you hate someone on the screen, that means they're doing a good job of acting. So really, you
said
actually
anything about
enjoyed
acting?
my acting performance.
I enjoyed
I was
everything
playing
you
as an
do,
owner
Scott.
yesterday. So thanks everyone for playing along. Now let's win some money, shall we? Your BetMGM locks
No, we're
after
not showing
a
yesterday,
really
are we?
rough day. No, this is what we do. We keep receipts. We are accountable, unlike
Bayo.
some people out in the world who like to be like, yo, I swept my picks today, and then they disappear for a week. No, we take hits. We take losses. It's real life. Nobody goes undefeated, okay? And also, Boston, really? Really? You lost the
Waldachuk had
series to
8
the
punches,
A's?
I think.
Waldachuk's actually got decent stuff. I don't know why he's
Bayo,
got such a bad
He
ERA.
gave up like 3 in the first. It was
Disappointing.
Man, awful.
It's all right. We're still up. Even you and me combined, we're
Shit
in 4
happens.
figures. Shit does happen. All right. So your BetMGM locks for Thursday, and this is your last lock for a while. So make it count. I'm not here next week.
I know, but I'm going to be up for no matter what I do. So
True.
I'm going big today. I'm going a lot of punchies today in the Twins Mariners game.
Making me nervous.
I know. I'm going 6+ for Pablo Lopez. And the Twins strike out so freaking much. They strike out like 10 times a game. So Gilbert's pitching. I'm going 7+
Kirby.
for him. Or Kirby, sorry.
Mhm.
George Kirby. I get those two confused.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
They're both really good.
They are really good. So 7+ for him. And that way it's plus 145. It's weird though, because I was going to go 6 and 6, but it goes from plus 145 to minus.
This is good education. Do
Or
you
no,
know
it goes
why
from
that
plus
is?
110 to minus 145.
Do you know why
So
that is?
obviously the number is 6.5.
That's the magic number. Well, that is his K prop. If I was just going alone to
Mhm.
George Kirby and deciding where I'm at, his K prop's at 6.5. That's why that hook is so important. I was still trying to talk you into the 6.
But it went from plus 110 to minus 145.
I know.
So I want
It's a
the
big-
plus. I want plus numbers.
I know you do. All right, so you're at
100.
plus
I'm just putting
150.
100.
It's plus 115.
Yeah, so I'm putting 100.
100. Okay,
For
cool.
win 115.
So that you come back and you still feel good about yourself because you'll be up
I feel
regardless.
good about myself, regardless.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad. I also will choose that game. There's not many to choose from. I do like George Kirby tonight against the Twins, but I'm looking at the earned runs, and I'll take the under 2.5 at minus 135.
So you think he's going to deal?
It's a little steep. I do think he's going to deal. That doesn't necessarily mean strikeouts, but yes, I do think he's going to deal.
Dude, have you seen the Twins strikeout numbers? They're
No, you're right.
awful.
They do strike out a lot. Their offense has been a little better lately. Kirby actually was bad last time around.
That's why I like him.
Which is why I like him as well. If you look at his starts, go through the game log, he has been one of the better bounce back guys. He will mix in a clunker, and then for the next 3-4 starts, he'll be awesome. So I'm hoping the trend continues with him. Overall, peripheral stuff, the whole deal, you watch him on a start-by-start basis, he's mostly great. So I'm good there. He doesn't walk anyone. His command's so good that obviously guys can be aggressive against him sometimes. So if he does miss middle, it's not like guys are sitting and waiting I'm going to take a lot of pitches. You can't take a lot of pitches against George Kirby.
No, it throws too many strikes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I was looking at the other game I really looked at was Baltimore Tampa Bay, and I looked at the numbers and I'm going to pull up on my app real quick, but Tampa Bay's big favorite in that game. I guess because of Glasnow versus Gibson.
Yes,
but they also were in Texas.
I like Baltimore.
They were in
tonight.
Texas late. They had to fly home to Tampa. Tampa's been playing awful. Baltimore. Tampa's minus 185 in this game.
Yeah, I think that's heavy.
That's why I was like, wait, is McClanahan pitching? Because I know Glasnow's been good and he strikes out a ton.
But he's also only going to go probably 5
innings.
Yeah.
I know. So it's gosh, dog. But it scared me away when I realized it was Glasnow, not McClanahan.
Mm-hmm.
If it was McClanahan, I would have been like, okay, I can see laying that. That's a big because Gibson can go out and dominate now if he gets the sinker ball.
Or at least just turn this over to the bullpen for both sides, and then the Orioles could win that battle. I mean, 8-9 especially. I don't know when Fuji's coming over, but maybe he'll be ready to go.
The other thing is they're pitching Adam now. I saw Adam in like the 7th inning. He was their closer.
Yeah. Well,
he was closing games for him,
but not every game.
Fairbanks, but a lot.
Yeah.
Now he's pitching like in the 7th inning. Like,
hey, times are tight right now. They got to win ball games. So
and Fairbanks is too worried about guys, telling him to drink bleach, which is still unbelievable to me. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Thanks. He needed that. Hey, hit the bonus code FOUL if you're new to the party on the BetMGM sports app on iOS or Android, or at betmgm.com. You sign up and deposit into your newly created account. Place your first bet offer, receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if it loses. And if that does happen, your bonus bets are available once the wager is settled. Always bet responsibly. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Do we have a minute? Can we do the giveaway winner now on Stadium? Yeah. All right, great. Yeah, let's do it. So we haven't gone, I would say, a week without giving something away to our fans in quite some time. And that continued this week. Our friends over there, Candy Pop,
I was like,
giving away variety packs, cookie, candy, and cereal pop, and some signed Foul Territory merch. And all you had to do was follow both accounts and hit a little like on the post. And we have a winner. Nice. The winner of the Cookie Pop, Candy Pop, Foul Territory giveaway is Anna Nguyen. Congratulations, Anna. Thank you for being part of the FT fam. Big, nice package coming your way of a variety of packs.
She only has 3 posts. We were one of them. And she won.
No, she didn't post about it. She liked us.
Oh, I thought she had to repost it.
Maybe she'll post about it. Anna, if you're watching this, if you post about us, we will mention you again. Visit cookiepopcandypop.com and enter code FOULBALL for 20% off. So if you didn't win, there's still a chance for you to get a little hookup there. So our number 2, as we'll flip it over to our Foul Territory YouTube channel, Ken Rosenthal is going to join us towards the top. Oh my gosh, I have 30 questions for Ken, but I know we only have him for like 20 minutes. But we'll do what we can. We'll probably take some questions in the chat for Ken as well. There's so much news. He put out this massive notes column on trade scenarios. I still want to ask him about the hell that's going on with the Yanks. And I know some people were asking earlier about guys that they could deal, like Bader, Gleyber Torres, Wandy Peralta, a lot of guys hitting free agency. And then also Commissioner Manfred's getting re-upped for another 5 years. It's a big story.
That's something I want to ask about.
That's a big story coming up next on FT Live on our YouTube.